back. Today we're going to upgrade the steering stabilizer shock on our 1990 Toyota 4Runner. So the shock itself is located on the front, obviously, it's for steering, just underneath here. So this here is the shock strut that runs up to a point in the frame, and then it comes along to this steering cross member here that links up to your pitman and idler arms, and then also to your tie rods. So this whole mechanism here, basically the purpose of this shock is to dampen any vibrations or excessive motion in your steering. Just a note, the grease that you see on here, I mean, it could be from the shock, but I doubt it because I spray our vehicles in rust check and basically any used oil that I have to protect them from rust. So the part that we're going to use today is a Monroe brand steering stabilizer shock. Part number is right here, SC2947 or 022-1912-2. So opening the box comes with the shock itself. This is not a preloaded shock like your suspension shocks, so there's no band holding it down to stop it from just springing open. So this one here is supposed to work in both directions, so like when you try and pull it apart or push it together, it's going to have resistance both ways because it's for steering. Comes with a castle nut and a nylon locking nut, 2 different sized washers, this fancy piece here that will allow us to put it onto the 4Runner, and it should come with a cotter pin as well for the castle nut. So there's the cotter pin. So the Monroe shock itself actually doesn't come with the boot, since I've just found this box. The part number is right here, P21145, and the main part number here, SA1997. Boot itself comes with just the boot and the zap strap, and I believe it's just a generic black boot. Our 4Runner actually came with a skid plate. So as you can see, the first step, I removed the skid plate. It just has 4 bolts. They're a 12mm socket for the 4 bolts here, and they just go up one here, and then up on this right there. So one thing I'm going to do here is check and make sure that the shock actually fits. We've got similar size on this end here, and then my main concern was the width of this left side here, which when you hold it up next to the existing shock, looks like it's the exact same size. So what I'm going to do now is just build up the shock and assemble all the pieces prior to taking the old shock off. There's a little groove on this end, and that's supposed to go on either side of this flared part here. Just like that. And then on the other side, we want to zap strap it. So this larger hold washer here is supposed to back up on that end. Then it goes in. And this smaller end compresses onto this side. And you use the nylon locking nut on this side. So now we've got this bolt in place. This side here is 22mm and this nut is 19mm. I just want to make it nice and tight. There we go. So on the back side of this end here, I don't know if you can see that, there's a cotter pin and a castle nut. Gonna have to take that cotter pin out, back off the castle nut so we can pop off this end. Well, I think that was the easiest cotter pin I've ever removed off this thing. Oh boy.
So I'll try the pickle fork here. Oh, it's working. There we go. One thing to note is that this bar here actually was a recalled item. There was a check done on recalled items for our vehicle. Now ours is from the United States. It's an American vehicle originally, and then imported to Canada. But this bar here actually was a recalled item, so we took it into Toyota and they swapped it out. But they're known for cracking, so if any of you guys don't know the full history of your vehicle, I'd check this item here because it's pretty important. This bolt here is 14 millimeter on both sides. So the old shock here, it's actually not that bad compared to what I originally thought. We're gonna replace it anyways with this Monroe one, and you can see it's way more stiff. So I went to the hardware store and picked up a replacement bolt, the one that goes on this side here. Test that for fitment. Perfect. Okay, so now we can install the shock here. So we're just gonna insert it up here. Here we go. And the new size I got was 9/16, which is different from the original. And now the trick is to extend the shock so you can fit it in the hole there. And you grab your castle nut and you put it on the back. This castle nut on the back is 19 millimeter. You always go tighter to line up the holes, you don't loosen it off. So right there you can see the hole is lined up between those posts of the castle nut. There we go. So there's the cotter pin through there. And what I like to do with my cotter pins is I like to bend this part to fold over top of the nut, and then the other one around the side. Like that. And then like that. Again, I'm just gonna go just as tight as makes sense with my hands. So according to the factory service manual, this bolt needs to be torqued to 43 foot-pounds. On the back side here, this bolt up here needs to be torqued to 19 foot-pounds. I can't fit my torque wrench in here, or I don't have one that goes down to 19 foot-pounds. Basically, I went as tight as I could, given the confines that I was working in. Okay, so there's a new steering damper shock, all installed. Let's take it for a little test drive. So initial impressions after swapping out the steering stabilizer shock, I'm not getting nearly as much feedback from the road
through the steering wheel in terms of bumps and potholes as the previous stock shock. The stock one, I think, was on the way out because it was a lot easier to move by hand than the new one, and just it feels so much more smooth to operate the steering wheel. And yeah, it's definitely an upgrade from the stock one. Thanks again for watching, and cheers.